List of President of United States of America. First President, George Washington. Second President, John Adams. Third President, Thomas Jefferson. Fourth President, James Madison. Fifth President, James Monroe. Sixth President, John Quincy Adams. Seventh President, Andrew Jackson. Eighth President, Martin Van Buren. Ninth President, William Henry Harrison. 10th President, John Tyler. 11th President, James Knox Polk. 12th President, Zachary Taylor. 13th President, Millard Fillmore. 14th President, Franklin Pierce. 15th President, James Buchanan. 16th President, Abraham Lincoln. 17th President, Andrew Johnson. 18th President, Ulysses S. Grant. 19th President, Rutherford Burchard Hayes. 20th President, James Abram Garfield. 21st President, Chester Alan Arthur. 22nd President, Grover Cleveland. 23rd President, Benjamin Harrison. 24th President, Grover Cleveland second time. 25th President, William McKinley. 26th President, Theodore Roosevelt. 27th President, William Howard Taft. 28th President, Woodrow Wilson. 29th President, Warren Gamaliel Harding. 30th President, Calvin Coolidge. 31st President, Herbert Hoover. 32nd President, Franklin D. Roosevelt. 33rd President, Harry S. Truman. 34th President, Dwight David Eisenhower. 35th President, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. 36th President, Lyndon Baines Johnson. 37th President, Richard Nixon. 38th President, Gerald B. Ford. 39th President, Jimmy Carter. 40th President, Ronald Reagan. 41st President, George Herbert Walker Bush. 42nd President, Bill Clinton. 43rd President, George Bush second time. 44th President, Barack Obama. 45th President, Donald Trump. 46th President, Joe Biden. 47th President, Donald Trump second time. Dear friends, comment your favorite U.S. president's name.